Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to World This Morning. I am your host Challanges and joining me is my wonderful co-host who happens to be Fahim Bangesh. Assalamu alaikum Fahim and good morning to you. How are you doing today on this fine Monday morning?
Well, walaikum assalam first of all, and alhamdulillah I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. And Hajra, first of all, I must ask you how you are.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And I think after this weekend when we received drizzling rain and after that we had a wonderful sunshine where Islamabad is exceptionally clear, green, clean, freshly showered. My spirits are really high because the sunlight and the sunshine means a lot. It gives you the warmth and it is that
and
part
there's no dust there.
Yes.
There's clarity in the air.
That's true.
And regarding this, I was talking to my wife the other day. I was like, you know how the weather's changing, the patterns are changing. I remember we used to have winters. This time we didn't even have the proper western depressions that we usually have in October and November. It was pretty dry if we look at it, if we look at the patterns in the last few years. Even the last year and this year too, the winters have come really late.
That's true, and the winters have shrunk a lot. But I think Islamabad is beautiful to witness, especially in the changing seasonalities of the nature. And this time, point of the year when you can feel the warmth of the sun and that the greenery and the trails, and there's so many beautiful spots inside the Islamabad where you can actually interact with the nature. And I think one of the casualty of the 21st century where the life has become so fast paced and it is so digital and we have become so busy is that our interaction with the nature has decreased a lot. But I think Islamabad is the perfect place, perfect spaces. It encapsulates where you can interact with the nature. And I mean,
we need to make it a priority to visit those places where we can actually connect our souls with the nature. That's what it's required in this stressful, bad era that we're living in.
That's very true. And speaking of nature, speaking of environment, Fahim, we know that in Pakistan, Pakistan is the worst victim of the climate change.
Yes.
And we have seen that how vulnerable it was last year, and we all had very personal tones coming on when we were speaking about the climate change because of the flooding and because of the adverse impact that we as a nation witness from something that is of not our own making. And we have been raising this point again and again, but I think it's very much important as the news cycle moves on that we keep the attention towards the climate change and make sure that people walk the talk, especially people in the Western countries who are responsible for creating this very humanitarian, I would say, environmental crisis. And since this Sharm el-Sheikh conference, the COP conference, is coming, the summit is coming on in November, I guess, and people will gather, the world leaders will gather. So we need to talk about the climate change.
And not just, Hajra, not just talk about it. I think we need to see some more implementable action. We need to see less of words and more of action, because we have less time. Although we still have time, but the time is really less, and it's very critical in order to save our planet, in order to save life form, plants, animals, and mankind itself. We have to be really, really fast and effective and efficient as far as climate change is concerned, and as far as mitigating all the disasters are concerned.
And there are lots of different manifestation of the climate change and how people are bringing their attention towards this crisis. So it's not just about speaking and in the news cycle, but through in the arts form too. So we are very glad that in Islamabad there is an exposition that is being held where the arts and craft and techno exhibition is taking place, and which will talk about or specifically focus on the climate change challenges at the Center for Public Cultural Diplomacy in Islamabad. That is too in the collaboration with Pakistan National Council of Arts from 16 November till 24th of November. And to talk more about it, to talk more about this very pertinent challenge
and
that
the venue would be Pakistan National Council of the Arts.
Yes. So we are very glad that we have been joined by one of our very favorite guests who has been coming to our show and who has been gracing our studio with his presence, and his talks and his conversations are always a delight to our ears. We are very glad that we have been joined by Salahuddin Chaudhary Saab, who happens to be a former ambassador, and he also happened to be very closely associated with the PTV. Assalamu alaikum, sir, and thank you so much for coming to our show, and welcome back to our home.
Walaikum assalam. And thank you very much for having me with you, Hajara and Fahim.
Right,
It's an
right.
absolute pleasure having you here, sir. First of all, we'd like you to talk about this exposition that's being held in Islamabad. Of course, you're Chairman, Center for Culture and Public Diplomacy, and in collaboration with the PNCA, you're doing something. This initiative that you've taken is, I think, pretty commendable. Could you tell us something about it?
Sure, I will, Fahim and Hajara. You know, long time back, when I was posted in Yugoslavia, former Yugoslavia,
Right.
during the time of war, civil war. And there the main issue was the conflict resolution and disaster management. And I, as a Pakistan diplomat, seconded to the United Nations peacekeeping mission, had the challenge of trying to bring two animosic people together. It was not easy because, see, they were at each other's throats grabbing, you see. And but of course, surprisingly, the same place where I was there previously as the second secretary, a junior officer, I saw that they were so integrated a people that we could not differentiate, who was Slovene, who was Croat, who was Gypsy, or who was Muslim, and so on. It was so integrated. But now I'm going to tell you something. You see, human beings are such beautiful beings. They're such wonderful, wonderful persons. But what happens is they change very quickly. But they rechange back to also very quickly. Now, like one time I told you, Hajara, that life is like a circle, or life is like a dot. You expand the dot, it becomes a circle. But you move on to that circle, and there are ups and downs. And when you finish your life, you just, at the end, that you perish, right? But it's an ups and downs that happen. And that is what I'm saying. It is very, very human. Like Hajara was just saying a few moments back, about nature. Now, man has the closest relationship with nature.
True, that's true.
You know, nature, man cannot live without nature, and vice versa.
That's true.
And nature also needs help from the humanity, isn't it?
That's true.
By all means, there are many ways of doing it. So that being the key, there in Yugoslavia, I tried to interact with the enemy groups. On one side, Croatians, on the other side, Serbians. They were very difficult in the end. They would not like to hear about the other side at all. But what I did, I tried to, target their children first. So I had to move on the road and to, invite the young children, by giving some gifts or the books or the, chocolates or things of that sort.
Right.
Initially, they would not listen to me, or they would not even come near me. They were scared of the UN car, you see. So, but after a while, they started coming, and through them, we reached the parents. How? In their schools. And we gave the demonstration about the United Nations. So their fear about United Nations was gone. As a mandator or whatever, they started meeting me, talking to me, and I told them, look, we will do everything for you. United Nations are supposed to be neutral people. They're not taking sides. But we are here to be able to sustain whatever help we can produce in that context. So one family who had lost his vehicle, he had left it because he was in a rush and he was being attacked. So he asked me, sir, can you do us this favor that you retrieve my car, which I was able to do, see, and he was very happy. The trust was built. From there, the premise became, something solid. So they started trusting me. We got together. Then they finally agreed to meet the other side. And there were, in one go, we had resolved almost all the issues they had.
That's wonderful. And sir, one of the very important and interesting thing about this exhibition, Fahim, when I was going through it and doing the research is that it is in the aid of the natural disaster victims and disadvantaged artists, right? So how did you come up with this idea of the disadvantaged artists? Because artists in themselves across the world, they often complain that they are not given the respect that they deserve, and they are not well paid, and their works is not sustained enough, right? And then obviously within that group, there is this further group, which is a marginalized group, the disadvantaged one, right? So how did you come up with this idea? How many artists are collaborating? And if you can shed some light on this particular aspect of your exhibition.
Back in Yugoslavia, even there used to be one class of people called gypsies. They were disadvantaged. And I saw them very closely. My two daughters used to go to the school, and gypsies were their friends because they were so wonderful, wonderful people.
Wonderful.
So I picked up the idea from there. The disadvantage have to be addressed. Then the special children, special people are also there. And in this event, we tried to bring in all segments of the society.
Right.
Because you have a diverse community. in our country. It's unique country from that point of view. So is Yugoslavia, by the way. So so I thought of getting the artists, first of all, budding artists were rising. They had to be encouraged, and the climate change is the most ideal subject for them, because if they get passionate and inspired by that, they can also contribute to the society, to the country, isn't it?
Of course.
Okay, so I thought alongside that we have to do something about not only the relief of the flood victims or the disaster victims, but also for other kinds of victims who can be artists, who can be special people, who can be marginalized, like you said, Hajra.
Right.
So we are going to create an endowment fund, God willing, inshallah. Okay, and that endowment fund will be looking and catering to the artists who get disadvantaged. Not necessarily they were disadvantaged from the beginning, but there are many who face problems, medical issues, other things. I had some drama artists. They suffered in their life, and I would even as Abdul Ahmed, the very famous drama actor. He just perished because he was not looked after.
Yes.
So now another thing, most important, that dignity of a human being is so important. And every artist has a dignity.
That's true.
I, for one, love every artist. I love the art itself and the people who do the art. But if you have the love for them, then you can do something. The same way I say, love thyself, you love yourself first, and love thy nature. That's my slogan, by the way.
Right.
This is the slogan of our exposition that you are doing.
Right.
That you have to love yourself first. You must know who you are. You must know what you can do. And then only you can do things for the others, isn't it, Hajra?
That's true.
So that's the basis.
Because we do see that there is a lot of apathy when it comes to many of the artists, because they do wonders. They create wonders. When they're into themselves, when they're into their essence, they are able to, take a person into another world when they look at their pieces of art, be it singing, dancing, or art pieces, anything. And a person who understands art, it's magic for them. So this is something I think that it's wonderful that you're doing it, and especially the budding artists, like you mentioned, because nobody really takes them seriously. Because he or she is a budding artist, perhaps he or she would not be able to do this. And the one question that's asked as far as the budding artist is concerned, that, okay, you do this, but what else do you do? Can't one take art as a profession?
Absolutely.
This thing also should be promoted and should be encouraged in people, that this thing can also be taken as a profession, something to do as a full-time job. What do you think, sir?
Exactly. Like I said, you have to love yourself. When you love yourself, you love your work.
Yes.
Every single human being has talent. It can be hidden, it can be out, it can be exposed. Just now I met this young girl, who is also going to come in your program, and I discovered she was so well conversing, talking about her creation. She showed me some stuff made out of cloth, paper, etc. And she is also into what is called climate change challenges. She wants to improve the environment. And her mother was also along with her. And I discovered that this is it. Why I paid my attention? Because I know that if I love this thing myself, I'll be able to love his or her art as well, her creation. So this is exactly what I told her, and I have told them, okay, you come and join us at the exposition. We're going to have a special workshop by you. She makes small, artifacts, which are wonderful. But her thought is most important. And she's young. She's only about maybe 11 years or 9 years old.
Yes, she's in 8th
What's
class.
that? I don't remember her name now. But beautiful. This is it. This is the crux. This is the basis. How you do and how you promote, like you said. And promotion is very, very important. If you cannot promote at the right time, the talent can be missed. Another thing, some people have hidden talent, but they do not have the opportunities to get the exposition of those talents.
True.
So we are trying to provide that platform. Like you said, budding artists, young artists, you see, and they need platform. So we're going to provide them the platform by that. I hope we can develop in such a manner, and by support from the society, support from the other groups and different. There are many others. This young girl's mother is also doing some good work about environment, about climate change challenges. She's doing compost. She's doing gardening, etc. I was very thrilled, really. And this is what I'm looking for, what we are looking for. And mind you, agronomy, Hajra, is so important.
Right.
Your government institution like PARC and NARC, they're all agriculture research councils. So they are doing a lot of good work, no doubt about it.
That's
But
true.
we need to also, from the private sector,
Right.
provide the passion and the support, and they will also support in a different way. isn't
Also,
it?
sir, what outcome are we expecting from this exposition that's going to be held in November in PNCA, of course? This is, of course, as we know it, as we are talking about it, it seems to be something really wonderful and something that we should have more and more, and not just talk about it, but have more and more such exhibitions all over the country,
Right.
not just in PNCA. So what outcome are we expecting as far as climate change is concerned, as far as the artist community is concerned?
Right, very good question. For him, you see, the most important target that we have is try and inspire this young budding community, number one. Then to try and draw them onto our platform. Third, to let them know that they are talented people. Like I said, when you tell them and you provide support, then they get encouraged.
And
once-
increases their self-worth and esteem. right?
Exactly, exactly.
Right.
Now, this is the first effort on behalf of CPCD, the Center for Public Cultural Diplomacy. But there will be a series of things happening. And mind you, it is not only events based. It will be also having what is called subsequent research-based work, the actual experimentation, technology. The university students, college students, they'll be all be brought into the mainstream, and see how we can develop their talents and their skills, etc. Of course, it's not easy. It's not at all easy at all. And simultaneously, we are trying to engage the foreign diplomatic missions. Luckily for me, I have some advantage. So I've already spoken to many diplomatic heads of diplomatic missions, and also abroad.
Wonderful.
And they are very supportive, mind you.
Wonderful.
Now, I'll tell you something. I was in the UK. I was a consul general there. And I've got a lot of friends there. And when I broached the subject, they got excited. Salahuddin, boss, let's go ahead, do it. And they have got a UK, there's a special,
Right.
platform the UK provides. Also United States, they also provide special platform.
Right.
Where they encourage and they bring in the youngsters. To now their whole attention is toward, luckily I'm very happy about that, whole attention of the entire world is toward global and climate challenges.
Right. So, sir, we've seen, Fahim, especially art transcends the boundaries, right? And we've also seen that nowadays cultural diplomacy is very much important in shaping the narratives, in shaping the public opinions, and you're specifically focusing on the climate change, right? And we have talked about it. So there are so many issues, and as the news cycle moves on, it's very important that we make sure that the momentum on the climate change that was built last year, we need to capitalize it, because Pakistan is suffering from that, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so let's talk more about the climate change, since the COP conference is coming on. How did you come up with this idea? So your art exhibition will particularly focus on the climate change, or there are other topics or other portrayals or expressions of the arts forms that we can find?
Okay, that's another very good question. Now we have in mind to go shoulder to shoulder with our government.
Right.
Our government has taken some very good steps over the last couple of years. And one particular element is what I call, or what they call, is a climate health or the climate justice. In COP27, last year,
Yes.
the Pakistan government and the entire delegation was able to bring forth and hammer the issue, saying,
Right.
unless and until the world community, was of course a summit. And at that, first it was COP26 by the United Kingdom, hosted by them in Glasgow,
Yes.
in which I took part.
Yes, wonderful.
And this 27 was, in
Sharm
Egypt,
yes.
in Sharm el-Khair.
Yes.
And there, the Pakistani government was able to take this home to the entire, the community of delegates present there.
Wonderful.
And it was accepted.
Wonderful.
Now, the other thing which is a follow-up is what is called climate-related loss and damage fund.
Loss
Yes.
and damage fund.
Yes.
True.
Okay. Reparation.
Loss and damage fund. Funding is most important. Although I personally feel we do not have to beg. We don't have to stretch our hand, give us some money.
Exactly.
But if we work hard, if we create example, then automatically others will pay attention.
That's
The
true.
same is our premise. We are not asking anybody to help us, anybody to finance us. No, nothing. You see us what we are doing, what we are going to do, and if you're convinced there is prowess, there's a basis, then you can extend your helping hands, and not necessarily through finances, but with in kind, in other ways. For example, it's okay, Mr. Chaudhary, your CPCD is doing wonderful work, but such and such thing is missing. Do you think we can provide that to you? And I said, then what I will say, okay, no money, but only that particular, call it plant, call it anything else, you can bring it in, it will be like a gift from you. I will not call it a donation, a gift from you. That's the way it's going.
That's very true, and thank you so much for steering the debate in this manner, because the loss and damage fund is something that is our right, because we are not the ones who have produced the climate change in the first place, right? We've seen that there was a commitment of $100 billion, but how much that commitment has actually catapulted into the action, that's under the consideration. And I hope and I wish that there is a conversation on this, the let up to that and in the aftermath of that. But now, sir, let's come to your exhibition. Since you've collaborated with lots of embassies and you're focusing your attention on it, and there's lots of discourse on the climate change coming up. So tell us about what sort of future initiatives do you plan on making sure that the Center for the Public and Cultural Diplomacy focuses or generates the narrative, and that through public diplomacy and cultural diplomacy, because that's a very essential part of a soft power in Pakistan.
Yeah, exactly. I would like to, Hajra, slightly highlight the cultural diplomacy part. As I told you earlier, in Yugoslavia, I coined the phrase at that time. There was no such thing as called cultural diplomacy. The public diplomacy came up in the last, end of last century, but cultural diplomacy had not emerged as yet. So I was very happy that we could introduce this. And now it has become a going trend, and I'm very happy about that. Now, in regard to the the plan, the platform, this is an 8-day exposition, art, crafts, and techno exposition, and followed by that we are going to have a number of other events.
Right.
Now, but before that, we tried to gather people around, like I saw today, this young girl and her mother, and there we will try to include them, in our say paraphernalia, and then what we'll do, we'll say, okay, let us engage ourselves in different activities of different kinds. There can be research, there can be experimentation. We'll involve the universities, colleges, schools, etc. We have also, by the way, we've got about 3 schools who are taking part.
I see.
We've got 3 universities taking part. I did a lot of work going to them, pleading, hey, please help us do something about it.
Wonderful.
I was doing that. Now, so after that, we're going to have what is called an international conference,
right,
and a week, climate action week. There'll be a 5-day affair where there'll be different kinds of things happening. And of course, by that time, I'm sure we'll gather, mass, and we'll have a lot of manpower. We'll be able to continue forward.
One last question that I would like to ask you. Of course, we know today is the age of internet, right? So how can we as individuals, each and every one of us, in their individual capacities, how can we work and use the internet and channelize our energies in doing what you are doing?
For him, it's another important question. Although personally, I'm not a favorite of what's called internet system or website and things of that sort, or touch screen mobiles, etc. But there are a lot of disadvantages about that in the context of environment. Okay, that's another subject. I can talk about it later.
Right.
However, the connectivity would be through the webs of the nets. Okay, there'll be a lot of virtual participation. There'll be a lot of virtual from different parts of the world, in Pakistan, different parts of Pakistan, and later from different parts of the world. And we will hunt the talent, and we will hunt the talent which is passionate. That's most important. As I said, we have to try and change the culture of thinking, change the culture of the lifestyle. If we don't do that, now for example, if I don't develop the culture of picking up a litter, not litter on the floor, or throw in a piece of paper, or through my moving car, or throw out a cellophane paper outside or a bag, This is part of our culture. We have to change that.
No,
Move
you're actually right. We have to change the mindset of people. We have to change the overall thinking patterns of people. So thank you very much for coming here. We're a bit pressed for time. Otherwise, we would have loved to have further discussions on this. But thank you very much for giving us your time.
You can have another session also later on.
That's true. And thank you so much for coming once again. And we're going on a short break. And after we come back, we have a very interesting segment lined up. So don't go anywhere. Good morning.
And welcome back to World This Morning with Hajra Satti and Fahim Bangush. We were having a lovely conversation before the break, and as Hajra told you earlier, that we will be having an interesting segment after the break, and here we are. Well, I would introduce our guest for the second segment. We have with us Mr. Humayun Mughal. He's a journalist, he's a writer, he's a vlogger, and he has been residing in Japan for the last almost 40 years. So we will be talking about his experiences in Japan and some comparisons between Japan and Pakistan. Of course, this is going to be an interesting conversation. And with Mr. Humayun, we have...
We are very glad. Assalamu alaikum, sir. First of all, we would like to invite him. Thank you so much for coming to our show, because he has been regular on our show and he talks passionately about Japan. So, assalamu alaikum once again.
Ohayo gozaimasu. Assalamu alaikum.
Wonderful, wonderful. And we've also been joined by a young bird who happens to be a class. She happens to belong to class 8, and she's very talented. And if I compare myself when I was her age, I don't think so I had that much of a talent, because she inspires us a lot and a lot of people out there, and that is why we feel it's pertinent to give voice to her voice. We are very glad that we have been joined by Sayyida Rahmeen Fatima Rizvi. She happens to be a young entrepreneur. Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. What about you?
Alhamdulillah. So let's start with Humayun. You've been coming to our show. You're wearing very vibrant colors, mashallah. And tell us something about Japan that fascinates us and that makes us go to that very beautiful country that's very secluded and far off, but I mean holds a very attraction and fascination for the tourists there.
Yes, Japan is a very heart-loving country, and they are very warm nations. Like the red is is the color of the Japan,
yes,
and green is the color of Pakistan.
Yes.
So I think we have a very great combination between Pakistan and Japan.
Wonderful.
And we have to make a great relation. Is a cultural relation, diplomatic relation, and Japan, I think they love Pakistan very much. And I think Pakistan also loves Japan very much.
That's very true, because Japanese has this tradition or culture of meditation, and I think it has been, I would say it's attracted around the world because of a very huge trees, very long trees there, and we have Sufism here in Pakistan, which also focuses on the meditation. And there was this one particular thing that I was reading about the Japan, and that fascinated me a lot, which is about that how Japanese people they are a bit worried about the tourism that is taking place there, because it's not very ethical, and people love peace there, and there's very peaceful environment. What do you have to say about it?
Yeah, actually, Japan people are loving very, tourism loving nations. So at the 30 years ago, I have been bringing a lot of the Japanese to Pakistan. They love Pakistan very much. They like the Pakistani culture, like Gandhara, Buddhism. And I think they want to come again.
Wonderful.
But somehow, there's the circumstances around the world that there is no peace now in the perfect peace. But somehow, they love to visit. And especially a lot of the international community, now they are visiting to Japan. At 3 years, we have been closed due to the quiet. So, but now they open it, and a lot of the world's, tourism coming to Japan, and they're enjoying and culture. And Japan is a rich culture, like they have a samurai, they have a, that a kimono, they have a karate, yoga, everything.
Yes,
so I think the whole world is, tourism is basically to take interest in their culture.
And besides that, they also have this technological advancements in
right.
each and every sector, which we also see on social media as well in
Bullet
different
trains,
videos.
yes.
Yeah, so I think that's also one of the reasons why people want to visit and see, because the people that have gone to Japan in my fraternity, they say it's a different world.
True.
Both in terms of culture and technology.
Of course, because Japan, high technology world, and I think they are peace-loving people, and their technology is for peace. Whenever they put any title of the project, wrestling for peace, sport for peace, technology for peace. So this is, peace-loving nation is, I think, only you can find in Japan. They
Because
don't
Japan
like
is one
war,
of the
they like
countries-
peace.
Because they are the people who have been through the violence,
That's
have
right.
been through the
That's right.
nuclear bombing, and I
Yes.
think it's, I mean, they should be the one who should be talking
Yes.
about peace
Yes.
for the rest of the world
That's
as well.
right. Yes,
Right,
yes,
right.
yes.
So now let's come to Rahmeen. So Rahmeen, tell us about your work, because she inspired us a lot, and she is a young entrepreneur, and at her age she is doing wonderfully well. So what are you making, and what is your specialty? And if you could show us, we want to show it on the camera too.
And also, how did you come up with the idea?
That is very interesting because I don't have a very touching story behind this. It was just like I let my intrusive thoughts win. I was like, I had always loved hair accessories and stuff, and then I learned how to make them. I was really intrigued by this, and I loved it. So I thought, why not share it with other people so they can also buy it from me, and I'll make an earning.
Right, right. And can you show us your
Yes,
work?
I have it right here.
Wonderful, because she's making some hair care accessories, and the
So-
colors are very fascinating. So what is this?
So let me show you. This
Wonderful.
is a hair scrunchie. This
Okay.
is really great for your hair. I make them myself.
Okay.
And these, they put down your hair damage, and they're very soft for your hair.
Right.
And then I have raw silk scrunchies. They're very vibrant.
Right.
They both are silk scrunchies, but they're of different materials. They're of different types.
Right.
And with these scrunchies, I have bows right here.
Wonderful.
I sell these, like, this is my small business.
Okay.
And I sell this on my Instagram account.
Right.
And that is the page I
And how has the response so far been about this business?
So basically, I'm at a very early level of my business. I have a great response for, like, people are buying these.
Right.
People are loving these. The response is positive. Like,
That's true.
And also, I want to know, because honestly, I'm not very well versed with the hair accessories
Right.
when it comes to girls, but I do want to understand. In a normal hairband and in a scrunchie, what's the difference?
let me tell you about that. So mostly the hair bands are made out of rubber. They're not that bad for the environment, but they're really hard to recycle, and it takes a lot of money to recycle them. So basically, if we use these are reusable. And have you noticed, like, if you see a rubber band, when we use them, there are so many hairs sticking on it.
Yes.
But when we
True.
use a scrunchie, this is really soft, and it glides smoothly like butter from your hair. And it is good for the environment and good for your hair. And this is something really cute, and this sparkles your hairstyles. It's a cute touch with hair care.
Right, and we would also like to inform our viewers here that Rahmeen also puts a very personalized notes in every packet that she dispatches to her clients, and she
And
writes.
they're not the same notes.
They're not the same
handwritten
notes, handwritten notes. And I think in the digital era where we are just typing, and I feel that my writing has gone to waste so much because everything is so much digital. It's a great effort writing it with your hand, on a pen, on a piece of paper, and using your words to make sure that you connect with your clients.
Connect with your
Yes,
client,
yes.
exactly. Now, moving towards you, Mayusab,
Yeah.
since you are living in Japan, you do visit Pakistan, would you like to tell us what actually the Japanese people think of Pakistan in general,
Right.
think of Pakistan in today's era? Can you show us Pakistan with the lens of Japan?
Yes, actually, I have been living 40 years in Japan and bringing a lot of Japanese to Pakistan, students, religious pilgrims. They are looking that the Pakistan is, like a holy place for them.
Yes.
I see.
It's like a Mecca Medina because they are Buddhist. Mostly 70% Japanese are Buddhist, and they love Gandhara. The Mahatma Buddha statues here and his history or archaeologies. They call it the flower of stone. That means the Gandhara, and they have been every year. Hundreds and hundred group was coming to Pakistan. I'm telling you because I was coordinating them.
I
But
see.
within this 20 years, they stopped because of some troubles. Nothing. There is no peace. So they are looking. Pakistan is very lovely country, and they said they want to come again here.
But now Pakistan has changed again. We do
Yes.
see that peace has.
Yes, now he's coming. That's why I'm here now because I'm trying to bring. Last time I brought Anthony Inoki, wrestler. I brought 50 wrestler and make a show in the Lahore, Peshawars. I do a lot of events here, and now I'm again going to produce one show here again. I
Right.
came here for that to talking with my producer to going to show again the wrestling show, in Japan, from a lot of wrestlers coming to, because Anthony Inoki was a very famous wrestler in Pakistan,
Wonderful.
because he was fighting with Jhara and everything. So he died last year actually,
Right.
and he was Muslim actually. You know, so I'm thinking to his followers and his wrestlers want to come to pray to the Pakistani wrestlers graveyards. Want to pray. They are not Muslim, but they respect Pakistan.
Wonderful.
So they have very deep respect with Pakistan. They want to, we have the sport exchange, culture exchange, and religious pilgrim. That the Buddhist, holy places and Sawad, Gandhara, they want to visit there, and that's why they feel that Pakistan is very loved country for them, and they want to come again. So that's their eyes.
And also, did you meet the culture minister and talk about the exchange programs, both for the Japanese people and the Pakistani people?
Yes, yes. In Japan also, I already talked to them, and in here also, I'm talking with the government people. They also, because a lot of our former ambassador to Japan, they have been organizing that way. We have been doing about 15 years this culture exchange program, and now he's a former ambassador, but he's very interesting. He can speak Japanese, and thus I'm going to meet him with him and to organize another 2 or 3 events. In lot of Japanese groups are coming to Pakistan, and I'm organizing for that.
Right.
So that's why I'm here now.
Right, that's lovely, because as Fahim mentioned and as Mughal Sahab also mentioned, that Pakistan after the 9/11 unfortunately was viewed through the lens of terrorism and extremism, and now that lens is breaking away, shattering away. There are lots of other stories about Pakistan, and our society is much more than that. It has always been like that. They are coming to the fore, for example, cultural tourism, for example, our different aspects of the folklore that are being brought to the world, and their attention is so this is the real attention that the world should be getting from the Pakistan and the society. And
like you said, Hajra, there's much more to Pakistan. We have people like Ramin in Pakistan. So Ramin, tell us, where do you get this help from? Who teaches you all this?
So basically, I have really supportive parents.
Wonderful.
If I say them, I want to do this, they're like, do it. They do not stop me. And my mother, she is really helpful. Like, she taught me how to sew, because I can learn it by myself. And my grandmother, she also taught me many things. Not just this, I have many other hobbies like crocheting and knitting. So my
And you know how to knit.
Yes, I know.
that's wonderful.
In this age.
In this age.
And my grandmother made me, she taught me how to knit, and I learned crochet through internet. And about these hobbies is that we can turn them into our business. That's what I'm promoting. I think that all of the young adults everywhere, if they find their passion, they can turn them into a business. It's not that hard. And if we start small, we can do wonders.
Right.
And coming to think of it, well, had I started like that, and had I thought like that,
Right.
in that age, perhaps I would have been something else.
Right.
Who knows?
Right. So Ramin, tell us about your personalized notes. So how did you come up with this idea, and how it is perceived by your clientele?
Yes. So basically, this is my packaging. The story behind this specific packaging is that there was this guy, he ordered for his mother, which was really touching.
Can you show it to the camera so we
Yes.
can tell it to the
It was
audience?
really touching and cute for me. This is the thing. I wrote this by my hand, and this was written for his mother. And if you can see right here, there is Urdu share for his mother, and the packaging right here, you see. I use these papers from old novels, so it can be better. I don't use extra paper for it. So it's basically really cute, and it touches their heart. And when I order something online and I see them writing a note for me, I think that is really cute. And if I'm getting that special treatment, why not I give that special treatment to my customers? Because customers are family. That's what I've learned.
That's wonderful, and I think that there's
Lovely.
an aspect of the climate change and environment upgradation in that, because she's not wasting paper, right?
Yes.
And it takes lots of trees to make a paper. So Mughal Sahab, coming back to you, and I think before we wrap up this segment, what are your future plans between the collaboration Pakistan and Japan, and what do you intend to do in the coming age? Because this is the time of the cultural diplomacy, and it's a very important aspect of a soft power. And since you are one of the influential people in Japan, what do you intend to do?
Basically, tourism is, I think, the tourism is a strong blood of economy.
That's
Right.
If you develop and flourish it, I think the whole world will come to Japan, to Pakistan. When I was growing in Pakistan, I have been when I was 20 years. A lot of the international community was here. A lot of European was, traveling by bus, coming from Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan. So that kind of period, I want to come back to the future. Pakistan should be like that country, back like a humanity, our rich culture, the whole world should come, let's feel that Pakistan is a loving country. And especially I want to bring the religious pilgrim from Japan, Buddhist pilgrim to Pakistan, and they want to understand with the Sufism. Our Sufism is very closer to the Japanese Buddhism.
That's true.
So I think this is the spiritual thing can make more diplomatic relation, more cultural and more friendly.
And also, are you in liaison with the Information Ministry as well? Because apart from the tourism part, we can also collaborate in the media industry and the filmmaking, documentary, short film, etc. in order to encourage and highlight our culture and theirs.
Yes, actually, I have my own YouTube channel too. I am also making documentaries. I bring a lot of my channels to here. We have been doing every year 2 big documentaries about Pakistan, especially like Gandhara and especially rich culture. And I think in future again we are going to restart it here because they love Pakistan very much. Pakistani culture, Pakistani food. Now the biryani is very famous in Japan. We are introducing the Pakistani foods. So this is how to make the culture is based on the tourism, I think. Without tourism, you cannot understand what is the culture. When you go and travel to the country, you eat the food, meet the people, you can feel how lovely people. And they say that Pakistani peoples are very lovely people, very respectable, very friendly, and Japanese really love Pakistan very much.
Now, as they say, the more you travel, the more it increases your exposure
That's
towards
right.
life, and the more you get to understand more
Yes.
people, and the more tolerance you develop inside of yourself. Well, thank you very much, Humayun Mughal Saab, for coming here and giving
sir.
us your time. And Ramin, I must say that you are a true inspiration
Thank you so
because not
much.
many people in this age think like you think.
Yes.
Thank you so
And
much.
kudos to your parents for bringing you up like that and supporting you like this, because we do see, Hajra, you must be noticing so many teenagers who are so hyper, who cannot contain their emotions. Of course, that can be, and by the way, I must ask you, if we want to order any of your products, like for example for my wife and for my sister, for instance, so, and Hajra for herself,
Of course.
so yeah, so how would we do that?
So I have my Instagram handle ornament._.scrunchies. You can go and DM me. It is right now available in Rawalpindi and Islamabad, but I can see to manage the international orders. And you will just DM me. You will send me the picture, the thing that you want. All of the pictures of these things, these bows, these scrunchies are on my Instagram page, ornament._.scrunchies, and you'll just DM me, and then you'll send me your location, and it's done.
Oh, wonderful. And thank you so much for telling us this information, and best of luck for your future endeavors, and best of luck for your future plans if you want to grow your business, and any sort of support that you need from our platform. PTV World is always here. Thank you so much once again, Mughal Saab, for coming here. And with that, we will wrap up our segment because that was a very interesting conversation. And until next time.